Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce the release of my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. If you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level in 2021, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD. All right, all you positive heads, welcome back. Here we go again. So happy to be back with you guys. It's just me today. And I know we've had a lot of mixing it up around here lately, and so it feels good to just be sitting here looking at my awesome tapestries in my studio as I talk to myself into this microphone that will ultimately find its way to your ears and hearts, hopefully. I have a review I'm going to start off with. This one came in on iTunes from DFabs. DFab said, enlightening, enlivening, and embiggening. I like that word. I've never heard that one. Embiggening. It's amazing how often what's being said on the Positive Head podcast is just what I need to hear at that moment. This podcast is a mental clearing for positivity and for focusing and uncovering what matters to you. Positive Head brings me focus on the path and helps to let go of some of the mental clutter. The topics and guests are inspiring, empowering, and authentically connected with our shared humanity. In just the past few months, I found great value in reading from Oneness, excerpts from Eckhart Tolle, Sonia Sophia's tapping sessions, and in other guest interviews. Good to hear what people are creating out there in the world, which inspires my own creativity. This is a great resource for those who are pulling for new ways to live and connect in this precious world. Thank you for keeping us positive heads filled up. Oh, thank you, DFabs, for taking the time to fill me up and to complete the circle of love I'm putting out into the world, and all the amazing contributors are putting out into the world. It's so true. It's like inspiration begets inspiration. Once you see something, feel something that inspires you, take that as a cue. Take that as like, what is that stirring in you? It's stirring a part of yourself that resonates with that. So often people will look at others and see like, oh, I don't have that. And I've been talking about that a lot lately because it's something that really feels like it needs to permeate the consciousness and needs to get out there. So I'm going to keep talking about it. And that is every time you bump up against someone else that you're inspired by, that you're like, have those old paradigm feelings of, I don't have that. I wish I had that. I'm not like that. They're great. They're better. They're whatever, we all know that feeling. We've all had it. We've all been there. Well, I'm challenging you all to take that, turn that story into, ooh, look at this beautiful soul coming into my awareness, whether on my Facebook feed or in person, or I heard about through a friend, whatever. The reason they're coming into your vibrational zone is because you're such a close reflection with that energy. It's mirroring itself back to you. Right? So that's some part of your extended consciousness. It doesn't mean you're necessarily going to do the exact same thing that they're doing, right? Maybe there's some incredible singer and, your voice isn't really, you're not cut out to be, the next, big pop star or whatever. It still is the essence of what's underlying that talent, that inspiration, that joyous vibe that you get from their emanations, their vocalizations. That is something that is a reflection of you, right? So it may show up for you in putting words to pen to paper, or it may show up in some great service that you do that is just a resonance vibrationally of that underlying joy. And so I want you all to start considering that. Let's tell that's the new story. This competition, comparison energy, it's time for us to lay that one to rest. Thank you. You've served us well. We appreciate you, but we don't need you any longer. We see the truth. We see we've upgraded our own perspectives and views to see what's really going on. These are reflections of self, not something that should make us feel less or small, right? We're playing big from now on. So, all right. Got that out of the way. That'll be coming back around. That one's not going away, actually. So I want to touch on this racial issue that has circled the show a few times now over the last 6 months, year. I find it not to be a coincidence that while I was gone and Dr. Erica Middlemiss was running the show with the help of Karis and Nixie and of course, Alexa as well. There came in a review that touched on the race thing. And of course, Erica and I went down this path, 6-9 months ago or so. And it caused a bit of a stir. And I did multiple shows talking about this whole racial tension, issue that wants to be dealt with, that comes up again and again. And of course, she read that review. And I'll reread it now for those of you who didn't catch that episode, just to kind of touch on what happened. And of course, I'll give my feedback to the reviewer. I feel like it's one that needs to be revisited here. So Brown New York Witch or NY Witch said, such a relief. I discovered this podcast upon returning from doing intensive spiritual work in South America. What a blessing. I was so relieved to find it since it has been tremendously supportive and insightful through my ascension process. The content is wonderful. My only suggestion, I would love to hear more spiritual leaders of color being represented and interviewed on the show. I can send some names of great teachers if you're interested. All right. So that was the review that Erica read, last week or the week before. And then a lot of people were not pleased with her response. I'll be very honest, guys. I've been so busy. I've not listened to that episode or the follow-up where she went to further clarify. I know that happened, but it's very rare for me to listen to these shows. Making the time to record them is enough with all the other things that I'm juggling. And so I do know from reading on the Positive Heads Facebook group, which, by the way, if you're not there, please get on there and connect with all the other amazing P-heads. I do know from what I read on some of these threads, her response was, oh, this person's in their ego, right? And they felt like it was and I didn't hear the rest of it, but they felt like it was an insensitive response. And so what I will say is I know this is a very, very sensitive issue. And I also know Erica and Erica's energy, and I'm sure she made the point, as she's made in the past, she has a child with, a black man. And, so some people felt like also I read that she was using that sort of as a cop out for her response. Now, knowing Erica the way I do, and as well as I do, I know Erica can be a little bit, she's not always the most, she's very strong with her words sometimes. And I think she did come back and I at least saw some response somewhere. I can't remember where she said, I wish I had chosen that differently. So, here's the thing. I believe it happened for a reason. I believe this is always an opportunity for everyone's growth, including her. So all the feedback she got, good and bad, is doing what for her? What do you guys think? I do believe her intention, I know her intention is very, very pure and good, and she wants to serve and she means well. Now, if she was a little insensitive in that moment, do you think she is now having the opportunity to grow from the feedback? I would think she is, right? And are the people that were triggered by her response having an opportunity for growth? I would say they are. And so, if we can start bringing that awareness to every topic, seeing, hey, at the end of the day, we're all perfectly imperfect. We're all growing. You're gonna probably, if you haven't already, hear me say something at some point where I maybe cause something to be triggered in you or offend you or whatever. And those are always just, if you can really take into consideration that all of these props in your movie, these characters, are there to help dig out blockages in some way. So if she triggered you on that, it doesn't mean, I'm not saying she's wasn't insensitive. I like I said, I know she can be kind of like very kind of curse with her words, kind of firm and whatever. And I think she regretted that from what I've assessed without having listened to all the episodes. So. Most importantly is how do we always bring it back to ourselves? How do we look at, she's got her work to do and that work is being done and, everything that went down from that, all the responses and reactions that went down from that. Now she is assessing herself. And it's causing some sort of growth in her. I'm sure it is. And, that's the same thing that everyone on the other end of the spectrum needs to do. It always comes back to, why is this happening for me? What is this showing me about myself? This reflection, this person, choosing to, some people are like, that's why I don't listen to any more daily episodes. Or I had people in the past, I don't listen to your show anymore because of the way you reacted to this topic or spoke about this topic. And, on one hand, that's perfect too. On another hand, from another perspective, it's somewhat unfortunate because it's like we're all people here just trying to figure it out together. And what is the underlying intent of each one of us? None of us are going to grab the mic and we're so golden. We don't ever say something that is off-putting or rubs you wrong. And I would actually say, as Rumi talks about, if you are irritated by every rub, how will your mirror be polished? He said. And that's the thing is you are going to get irritated. You are going to be triggered sometimes. And let's really be as loving as we can be to both the triggerer, to yourself as the person being triggered. And let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, to throw this show out because of me ever saying something that's a little off-putting or any other guest, that seems a little extreme on one hand. On the other, everything's perfect. So it's, I just want that to be considered. As far as what you said here, Brown NY Witch, certainly I have had people on of color. Actually, the person who's been on the most, Sevan Bomar, 3 times. Well, now Derek Rydell as well. Sevan was like one of my very favorites. He's so incredible. I had him on 3 different times and we'll have him on again. And I highly recommend you guys checking him out. That's just one example that comes to mind. I know David Sanapas was on recently. Preston Smiles is coming up. I've reached out to a lot of prominent people with color. Some of the more prominent people. And, I can think of one off the top of my head who had said they would schedule and then didn't. And, others that just didn't respond or declined or whatever. And that's all good. I'll tell you this, my intention when I'm reaching out, I don't even think about, it doesn't even cross my mind if they're male, female, black, white, brown, yellow, green, alien. Actually, I do maybe I'm a little biased to aliens if I can ever find one of those. I definitely would prefer to bring on an alien. Got to keep it interesting around here. But seriously, it's not even a consideration. I literally will actually, Erica helps me to book as my booking manager. I'll just say, ooh, this person came across my feed. I heard something that I like. Go get them, And it's never a thought about this sort of thing. Now, I can take this reviewer and look, just from the name, Brown NY Witch, there's a lot of identification with color. And I'm not saying that's wrong or right. It's fine. It's perfect, right? But it's not something that I'm personally doing. So I just want that to be known. I'm not, it's just sort of a non-issue for me in a good way. And I would encourage anyone out there listening to find their way to that spot as much as possible too, because as we know, where attention goes, energy flows. If we're focused on the separation piece that's out there, and there is no shortage of it happening out there, no shortage of racial tension, divisiveness, all those things, they're there waiting for you to give them attention, and they will reflect back to you all day long and upset you and disrupt and, all those things. But I think of, the Buckminster Fuller quote, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete, right? How that resonates so deeply with me. Any of you out there who don't like what they're seeing when it's with all this racial tension and stuff that's out there, how do we come together? Those of us who truly are so deeply well-intended and truly are seeing beyond the ridiculous idea of region of our ancestors or pigment in our skin. That's all it's a reflection of, right? It's just like, it's laughable that these barriers have kept us apart, really, right? It's like such a joke to those of us who understand, who and what we are. We are literally the same consciousness in different bodies. And so when you know that, how do we focus on building a new model that makes that existing model with all the separation obsolete? To me, it's focusing on how do we build? How do we come together? How do we build? How do we come together? How do we move to a place where, and granted, it's probably much easier for me to get to that place of, I don't even think about it, right? When I'm reaching out for a guest or whatever, it's just not something that's a big part of my world, thinking about these issues. And granted, that has probably been a much more easy place for me to arrive at as a white male, right? So any of you who are, a black female or, an Asian transsexual, whatever it is that's different, that's, you maybe you have a more of a journey to get to the place of, it's just not something I'm just seeing the souls. I'm just seeing the souls. I'm just focusing on the souls that, and if you had a harder journey to get to that place of, it's just like not even taking up any of your bandwidth because you're so in love with yourself and all the souls and reflections that are coming up, and you're focused on building that and expanding that energy, because maybe it was harder for you to get there through, not being born as a white male. I feel like that's going to become a strength for you. It makes you even more powerful of a pawn in our, collective, light army, right? Those of us light workers who are coming to bring healing. You've got a new strength because you went through a trickier navigation to get to that place. And so that's really what I want everyone to focus on. You are the lead actor, actress, director in your own private movie, right? And with that, anything that you focus on, it's all coming through you. So, what do you want to see more of? There is no out there. There is no world that exists other than the world that you're co-creating with your vibration. It's truly how I view everything now. It's like, I am the focal point of source consciousness, the fractal, a drop out of the ocean, but the whole ocean is in the drop that I am, right? And that goes for you too. And we're all that. We're all center points of source consciousness where everything is swirling around us. We're the center of our own private universe. Every human, every event is all some reflection of some part of you. So what part of you do you want to call in more? You want to see all the racial divide and all that stuff disappear? What's the best way to do it? Fighting it or moving into a state of unity consciousness within yourself and then watching the reflections that pop into your world? Those things will just kind of begin to fall away on their own, not from us resisting them, because what we resist persists, right? But by moving into a new vibration, and all of a sudden, since you're sitting in the driver's seat of your own private universe, all of a sudden you'll look around and say, "Whoa, I remember that thing. There used to be this racial divide, but everywhere I look now, it's like healing, love. All colors are merging into one. And wow, I didn't even really, have to do anything except for move into a new vibration." That's how you move into the new earth. That's how you become, from this moment forward. I believe there is all sorts of timelines of reality. There's versions of dystopian destruction and climate change destruction and, pain and death. I believe that exists. I believe there's also the heaven on earth scenario. And I believe people listening to this have a choice which one they privately step into with their vibration, because source is so infinite. It has infinite versions of the movie that it can play out for you. Right? If you can think of it as, truly like your higher self is sitting there meditating and projecting this whole world, and you are the center point and everything else is just a prop in that vision that your higher self is having every person, every event, every place, you are it. You're the only one here. And if you can really resonate with that, how do you fix it? Become what you want to see next. That's how. All right. Gosh, I love you guys. All of you, short, tall, fat, black, white, extraterrestrial. I might have a little more love for those. Shh. We're all extraterrestrials, probably. So I love you all equally. You are all so amazing. I do have a clip I want to play here. That's really it's short and powerful. I found this on the Murtaga YouTube page. It's racism, and Abraham. Take a listen.
And are you refreshed? Yes. Good. Now what? You've been talking to one another, haven't you? On the aisle here. Stand if you think it's you. You are the one. Oh, they're too happy. Go back.
Oh. Hello. I have a pretty good life. I grew up in a pretty rough circumstances in Boston, and kind of a very racially divided time, in a very racially divided city, kind of with a lot of almost deadly violence, but I was able to maneuver myself through it, and grow up and be an adult and live.
Is that a rare thing?
No, it's not a rare thing, but it's the basis of my question is, this is such an incredible country. I live in New York, which is such an incredible city. It is so racially diverse. I have every kind of friend you can imagine. I have every kind of sexuality, every kind of nationality, religions. Like, we all kind of live in this big melting pot, but we don't melt together, and we just get so much out of each other.
Even we are welcome there.
Even we. And come on down and do a seminar in New York City. I think it'd be amazing.
It's a date.
Okay. All right. When I sitting here and talking to you and being in this chair and being in this room, there's such a great energetic coalescence. You know what I mean? We're all one, but we're all different at the same time.
We are specifically different, but generally same.
Yeah.
We are vibrationally same.
Okay.
It's the vibrational sameness that makes for comfort. It's the specific difference that makes for expansion.
That's great.
So great. You all said, yeah, I'll go. I'll sign on for another lifetime. I'll be diverse in my specifics and same in my core. I'll participate and help all that is expand, and I'll love every minute of it. That's what you said.
Yet, there are elements, people, instances, and I'm thinking specifically of this guy Trayvon Martin in Florida, which to me was a horrible tragedy of people looking at each other and misjudging each other based on skin color and appearance. And
well, what it comes down to, there will always be those who misunderstand the goodness that they are. And the more outside the goodness that you are, the worse you feel. And the worse you feel when you are outside the goodness that you are, the worse you behave. It just comes down to that. There are two basic kinds of people, in the vortex and not in the vortex. And everyone is both. at one time or another. The only variable is, or the only thing really worth talking about is, how frequently am I out or how frequently am I in? What represents the dominant basis? What's my dominant point of attraction? And what happens with so many people, if you could just mind your own business, if you could just tend to your own vibration and let law of attraction fill in the grid, rather than attempting to fill in your own grid, the majority of the world is outside the vortex, measuring behaviors and manifestations and making effort to control the world through inhibiting or encouraging behavior rather than tending to vibration that is at the core. And once you get hold of that concept, doesn't it make you want to just leave all that other stuff that you've picked up on your physical trail behind and just do what you know works? Just radiate a signal, no longer trying to control things through words or through rules or through laws. Just hold steady to the vibration that is you, and then just let law of attraction sort it out. Let law of attraction fill in the grid. And you let your evidence of your alignment be measured by the way your grid fills in. And if the grid's filling in unpleasant ways, then find a different grid. And if that grid still fills in unpleasant ways, then find a different grid. But take responsibility for the grid that you're offering, and no longer need somebody else to be different in order for you to feel better. Because that kind of need for control will drive you nuts, because they're uncontrollable. You see, in the general, you get that. It's just in the specifics that it makes you crazy. Because when you look at some specific thing that you pick out and you say, but look at that, on every level that is wrong, and every one of us agrees that that is wrong. And we say, yes, and every one of you who is in agreement that that is wrong in that moment are using that as your basis for vibration, are using that as your point of attraction, and that's why you fear it so much. That's why you abhor it so much. That's why you then want to take action to squish it or squash it, to repel it, to get rid of it. But you can't push hard enough against unwanted things to make them go away. They just stick like glue to you. You have no recourse. All you can do is live through it, and you did, and acknowledge what you now prefer, and then do your best to align to that new preference, and teach through the clarity of your example.
So many powerful points made here. When we resonate with that vibrational sameness, that's comfort. It feels really good. The specific differences, those are the opportunities for expansion. So this racial thing, great opportunity for expansion. All the triggers from people, that be wise enough to see your opportunity for expansion in it. She said the more outside of goodness that people are, the worse they feel. And then the worse they behave. Everyone's acting rational based off their view of the world. If we can understand that, it's never personal. These people are that are acting out that you triggered by, or, think of neo-Nazis and things like that. They feel awful. They're outside of goodness. So they're behaving badly. They from the ultimate perspective, it's like, feel sorry for them. They're hurting, right? It's like they're really, really hurting, and it's why they're completely disconnected from the love that you have found your way to. Don't let them take you out of this beautiful, beautiful thing that you're finding. Don't let them, they're there to test you. They're going to try. Are you going to let them trigger you and take you out of your joy? She said, look, really, there's only two kinds of people, those in the vortex and those outside the vortex. And what she means by that is when you're connected to higher self, the way higher self sees things, understanding it's all happening perfectly as it should to create the next, for every soul to experience the next greatest and grandest version of itself, for it to work out its muscles to become more. When you understand that, you're in the vortex. When you're judging something and judging, the process of that, you're outside the vortex. And we've all been in both one time or another. I was outside the vortex for a little bit yesterday, stressing about something. Oh, guess what? No problem. I see it. Brandon, navigate your way back. You're feeling bad. That's like the speed bumps on the side of the road when you're drifting asleep, that indicators to let you know, hey, wake up. You're out of alignment. Get back into the vortex. It's okay if you're out of the vortex. It's okay if you've been triggered by Erica or the rest of the world or anyone out there. That's beautiful. Great. It's an indicator. How do we find our way back to the road, the smooth sailing seas, right? The middle of the road, not off running into the bushes on the side of the road. She says it here so well. If you could just tend to your own vibration, mind your own business, let law of attraction fill in the grid instead of trying to fill it in yourself. What she's saying, you can either go within, or you can either look within or look outside. And if you're ever reacting onto the things outside, you've missed the boat because all the source is within you. So go within, focus on your own vibration, watch all that stuff, fill in that will reflect back what it is you want to see more of in the world. Not measuring behaviors and making efforts to control the world rather than tending to your own vibration. Right. It's just, and it's understandable. It's a very alluring, bait to take. Right. We think there is no out there. Hello, it doesn't exist. You've been tricked. And it's a clever trick that you did to yourself so that you could have this empowering realization that you have the power to change it all from within yourself, not by reacting or acting on anything external of yourself. And then you let the measure of your alignment be calculated how your grid fills in, she said. And she also made a great point here. A lot of times people get this stuff in the general. You bring in specifics like this racial thing, and that makes people crazy, right? It's like, this is a great example of one that is so highly charged in our society. And so all of this, I could talk about all of this and you'd be like, yeah. And then you bring it to some specific, or let's say you bring it to, sexuality, or, how, people are treated who are, transvestites or transsexual or whatever, all the different things out there that are charged for people. It's like, hold on, all of a sudden I'm like triggered, and it all made perfect sense until you apply it to this thing that really triggers me. And then I'm completely thrown out of the vortex, and there's a lot of injustice in the world, right? That's your opportunity. When you're feeling that way, really check in with yourself. You're getting an opportunity to upgrade to the next greatest and grandest version of yourself. If you keep taking that bait, you keep staying outside of the vortex, you're going to keep getting these things to trigger you until you get, you pick up the phone, you get the message, you see where it's trying to lead you. And the fact that you're tuning into this right now means you are so ready to make that shift. So congratulations, you're there. You're right there. We're there. We're doing it together. And I'm so proud of you. And you should be so proud of yourself. She says you can't push hard enough against unwanted things to make them go away. They stick like glue. What you resist persists, guys. I mean, that's just the way it works. Wayne Dyer said that. You can't be poor enough to help the poor people. You can't, being abundant and being in love and taking down the barriers within yourself is the key to seeing them fall external of you in your own private movie, your own private universe that you are in at this moment. Whatever you've been through, and I know a lot of you have been through very difficult things pertaining to this topic, even that I can't even begin to relate to, and because I haven't. And for that, I acknowledge you, I honor you, I love you. You lived through it. Now, do your best to align to what your new preference is. What do you want to do now? What do you want to see more of now? Align to that. We see you, I feel you, I honor you. I truly could give two shits about what you are, where you are, what color you are, how tall you are. Any of that doesn't matter at all. And, I just want to feel your joy. I want to see you grow. I want to see you flourish. I want to help you flourish as I help myself flourish by aligning to my new preference, which is everything that we're talking about here. And you teach through the clarity of your example. Live it. Live it. Practice. If someone comes to you and it triggers you, send them love because they gave you an opportunity to grow. We're doing it. You're doing it. And like I said, I'm so proud of you guys. So send love to this massive wound that exists out there in the reflection of self in the collective. Let's bring love and unity to it, shall we? I do have a song to leave you guys with. This is a beautiful, beautiful song. It's called Oh Love by Ayla Nerio. Feels appropriate for today. I hope you resonate with the words and the vibration. Till next time, journey well. I love you all so much. Also, before we cue up today's song, as a quick reminder, don't forget to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.
Tearing me apart from the inside out so I can see myself from the inside. Tearing me apart from the inside out so I can see myself from the inside. Tearing you apart from the inside out so you can see yourself from the inside. Tearing us apart